Hello everyone, I've been nominated by Kay of Kazakins1 to do the 10 crafty questions about me. So here goes. If I keep looking down, by the way, it's because I've got my questions and my answers on my lap, so that hopefully I won't get sidetracked and waffle on for too long. So here goes. Question number 1, what is your real name? Well, my real name is Nina, and just to give you a bit of background information about me, I live in Worcestershire with my husband Steve, my 2 sons Alex and Sam, and my cat, who most of you know, called Louis. Louis was on my lap until a few minutes ago, but then got scared as soon as I turned the camera on, and he shot off straight out through the cat flap. So, you know, maybe he'll come back later, who knows. How did your channel name come about? Nina Ribena is my channel name. And Nina Ribena was my nickname when I was at school, and it's funny because I used to hate it with a passion at the time, but it's got a bit of a ring about it, and I wanted something that was easy to remember, and so that was how it came about. And for those of you that are not UK based and might not know this, Ribena is a blackcurrant cordial drink that's been around for years. It was the drink I used to have as a child. Not so popular nowadays because of the high sugar content, and of course everybody being terrified of rotting their children's teeth. But yeah, there we go. And it's funny because I know that some of the YouTubers have nicknames for their friends and followers. France Papillon being a good example. She calls her friends and followers her beautiful butterflies, and Alex is always telling me that you guys should be known as the black currants. So if you want to be known as one of Nina Ribena's black currants, then I'll leave that entirely up to you. So now you know. Question 3, what is your favourite craft? It's really difficult to say because it depends on what frame of mood I'm in at the time. I've tried all sorts of different types of crafts, you know, knitting, jewellery making I was big into before I got into mixed media. I went through a phase of buying cashmere and wool jumpers from the charity shops and boiling them in the washing machine and shrinking them in the tumble dryer so that I could use those in various projects. I have just literally tried all sorts, and you know, it's well known that my channel is a little bit of this and a little bit of that, whatever, you know, I'm in the mood for at the time. So really difficult to pin it down to a particular favourite. Question number 4, what is your favourite shopping place for craft materials? We don't have the huge craft supermarkets here in the UK like some of you guys do in the US. Hobbycraft is probably our largest, but it tends to be very expensive. They've got a good selection there and I enjoy going, and you know, I do go there from time to time, you know, every 2 or 3 months or so. I do a lot of my shopping online, eBay, AliExpress because it's cheap, Amazon, and of course many of you hear me talk about the Motorcycle Museum as well. Now that is just a venue for a craft fair that is held probably about 5 or 6 times a year. Each time I go there's probably about 40 or 50 vendors there selling all sorts, you know, paper crafting items, all of the red tape glues that I like to buy, paints, watercolour sets, you know, your wooden embellishments, absolutely all sorts. You know, the majority of what I need I can get from the craft fair, and there's some wonderful bargains to be had as well. So, you know, I do tend to go there 5 or 6 times a year. You pay an entry fee of £4 to get in, which, you know, I think is very, very reasonable. You also hear me talk about the scrap store as well. The scrap store is a recycling centre that many of the schools locally subscribe to. They're based all over the UK, and you pay an annual membership. I think the one in Worcester charges £14. It varies depending on where you are in the country, and then you can go and for £4.50 for the one in Worcester you can fill a basket, a big shopping basket, to the brim, of whatever crafty goodness you can find, and there is just absolutely all sorts there. There's, you know, materials, leather, you know, things like paper tubes, paper envelopes, you know, all kinds of things. And it's one of those places that is very hit and miss. You know, one day I can go and I could literally fill 3 baskets full of goodies, and other times I'll go and I'll come out empty-handed because there's just nothing there at all. They have a craft shop attached to it as well, and I've picked up some amazing watercolour bargains there, watercolour papers for an absolute fraction of the price that I would pay on Amazon. So I just love it. I think it's a brilliant place. And then there's a couple of other shops, smaller shops that are nationwide here in the UK. One called The Works, which is primarily a bookshop that also sells craft supplies, things like embellishments and paper packs, very seasonal. And there's another shop called The Range as well, which I quite like to go to. Again, that's sort of like a household shop. They sell gardening materials, household items, but have sort of like a craft section as well. So I really like going there. And charity shops, I just absolutely love having a good mooch around a charity shop. And let's face it, in the UK, we've got an abundance of them. There's at least 10 probably on every one of our high streets. Well, I'm sorry about that. I've just had to turn the camera off because the postman arrived, and then it started absolutely hammering it down with rain, and it was just too noisy for me to continue. So question number 5, who are the top 5 crafters that you enjoy the most? It's really difficult to narrow it down to just 5 crafters because there are just so many people that I enjoy on YouTube. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wonderful, wonderful crafters out there. I must admit, I don't watch anywhere near as much YouTube as I used to because I just find that, you know, you can kill 2 or 3 hours with no problem at all. And of course, when you're watching other people, you're not doing anything yourself. So, you know, I try not to watch as many as I used to, but we did the watercolour challenge a couple of months ago, and I discovered a lady called Emma Lefebvre, and she's just absolutely fabulous. She's just got such a wonderful watercolour style, makes it look so easy. So she's definitely one of my favourites at the moment. Jay Lee, I just absolutely love Jay Lee. Creation CC as well, she's just absolutely superb. Who else inspires me? I just absolutely love my abstract style art, and there's a couple of channels that I really enjoy watching for abstract art. Siraj Fine Arts, Dan Tyrrell's definitely, Ray Grimes, really enjoy all of those channels. And of course jelly printing as well, just absolutely love me some jelly printing. And when anything pops up by Kate Crane, then you can be sure that click, I'm on it. I just find that lady so inspirational, and she influences me a great deal. You'll see lots of Kate Crane influences in my own art. She was one of the very first people that I started watching. I also love Birgit Koopson as well from Gel Press, just, you know, absolutely love her channel as the Gel Press channel as well. Who else? Ayosia Designs. She's more into scrap journals and that kind of thing, but she's a very, very good artist. She has the most calming, beautiful voice. What a lovely, lovely lady. I just love her channel. Who else? Sarah from the Mushroom Market as well. She just enjoys putting embellishment packs and things together in junk journals. Absolutely love her channel as well. And then, of course, you know, people like Lindsay Wyrick. I mean, she is just so inspirational. I mean, she's just a mine of information. Anything you want to research, you can be sure that Lindsay Wyrick, the Frugal Crafter, is going to have a video giving you some guidance. So there we go. There are a few names. Question number 6, favourite colours. Now this really depends on the season for me. We have 4 very specific seasons here in the UK. Of course, up until about a month ago, I was just absolutely hooked on neon colours, anything bright, you know, neon pinks, yellows, oranges, greens, blues. And then at the flick of a switch, we went into our autumn season, and of course now my colour palette has changed completely again to more sort of, you know, rusty oranges and yellows and greens and reds, golds, you know, those kind of colours. So for me, it's very much seasonal. Of course, as soon as we go into the Christmas period, I will be choosing more purples and light blues and whites and silvers and golds and those kind of colours. So it depends on what the time of year is. Question number 7. Where does your love of crafts come from? I have been creative and crafty for as long as I can remember. I mean, we used to do lots of crafts when I was at school, primary school and preschool, you know, Play-Doh, plasticine, all of those kind of things. We used to have sort of, you know, kitchen sets, and we'd pretend being creative in that respect. Oh gosh, I just used to love painting at the easel. I was allowed to play with paints and things at home as well. So I have been creative for as long as I can possibly remember. Question number 8. When did you first start crafting? Properly crafting, probably about 12 to 15 years ago. Before I got into mixed media, I used to make my own handmade jewellery. It was difficult to sell. I used to do lots of craft fairs, but the trouble is, because of the likes of New Look and Accessorize, there are an abundance of shops over here selling really, really cheap costume jewellery, and people just don't want to pay the price of handmade jewellery. And quite often, you know, it would cost you could buy something in somewhere like Accessorize for the same price that I could buy the materials, and it just wasn't cost effective. And you know, I carried on doing it just as a hobby and giving things away to family and friends. But you know, to be honest, there's a limit to how many bracelets and necklaces and, you know, that kind of thing that you can make before, you know, what do you do with it? What on earth do you do with it? And so I stopped, and then I discovered mixed media. And of course, you know that I started my YouTube channel five years ago, and here I am today, and I just love anything crafty, all sorts of different types of mixed media. My favourite craft so far, that's really difficult to say, because again, you know, I just keep revisiting things over and over again. I love my jewellery making. I went through a phase of buying cashmere and wool jumpers from the charity shops and shrinking them in a boil wash in the washing machine, and then putting them in the tumble dryer to try and knit all the fibres together. And I'd make projects out of those, you know, Christmas decorations and all of, you know, those kind of things. You know, alcohol inks, I just absolutely love my alcohol inks, but you know, it's not something that I do all the time. I thoroughly enjoyed it when we did the watercolour projects a couple of months ago. I absolutely love acrylic paints, so it's just like a cycle for me. You know, whatever is flavour of the month, you know, I just keep revisiting things, and that way you don't get bored. I mean, my YouTube channel, as you all know, is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Question 10, finally, what is your favourite craft tool? My crocodile, I think it has to be, is my favourite. I just find that tool absolutely invaluable. Many of you think it's called a crocodile. It's not, it's a crocodile with a P. Great tool. I also have just recently invested in a stamping platform, which again I find to be a really useful tool. My only regret with that is that I didn't buy the larger stamping platform. I bought the mini, and lots of my larger stamps don't fit in it. So you know, my advice to you, if do your research. If a stamping platform is something that you're thinking of investing in, do your research, because you know, I regret big time buying the stamping mini. My pokey tool as well, my awl, as it's officially called, you know, that's an invaluable tool as well. Highly dangerous. I've stabbed myself many a time, but I'm clumsy, as many of you know. So I just want to wrap this up now, because the heavens have started to open again. So before it gets too noisy, I need to nominate 4 more people to take part in this challenge. And so my 4 are Almut Olsen. I just absolutely love Almut's channel. So Almut, Ayosie Designs, Sarah from the Mushroom Market, and Emma Lefebvre. So I hope these ladies will take up the challenge. Do go and check out their channels. I'll leave the links in the description box below. A huge thank you to Kay for putting my name forward as well. If you want to know any more questions about me, if there's anything else you'd like to ask, then feel free to do so. Just, leave me a comment in the comments section below, and take care everyone. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.